Hello everybody, this is Kay and welcome to my channel, Junking with Gigi. So I have tried something new this past week that I hadn't tried before. I'd heard about it, but they're called Franken pages, and basically you're putting together scraps of paper in sort of a Frankenstein method, like Frankenstein's monsters kind of sewn together to make a complete unit. And I had to watch some videos on this because I really didn't understand the concept, but the one video that really kind of explained it clearly to me was by Rachel from Rach and Bella Crafts, and I will link her. I watched 2 of her videos from about a year ago on how to do these, and I will link both of those in the description box below. But basically what you're doing is you're taking scraps of paper and kind of piecing them together, but it's not like collaging on a background sheet. Both sides of the paper that you're piecing is going to show on your signature page. And that's what I've done I've done 3 of them so far, and I want to do 3 more because I'm working on a series of 6 journals right now. I'm working on 6 sort of similar journals, different but similar, if you know what I mean. And I'll show you the cover of one of them right here. Let me grab that real quick. So what I started with was just some scrapbook paper in the background. And so I had 12 by 12 sheets of scrapbook paper, and I had pieces left over that I wanted to use in my journal. So that's where I got to thinking about maybe trying to make some of these Franken pages. You can see that paper right there is the same as the background paper on my cover. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm taking some of the scraps left over from that and incorporating them into Franken pages, of course, with other scraps as well. So these are the 3 that I've made so far for 3 of my journals. This is the piece of scrapbook paper that I had left over from one of my other covers. And I have 3 more that I want to make, and I thought I'd go ahead and make a video for this, just sharing this idea. I know it's not a new idea, but we all kind of have our own takes on the different things we do for our journals. And so I just thought I would share my take with you in making Franken pages for this set of journals that I'm working on. What I've done on my mat here is I used some washi tape, and I just kind of framed out an 8.5 by 11 section here because that's what size I want these Franken pages to be. So I can stay within that margin, and it'll be just the right size for these journals that I'm making. These are the 3 base pieces of scrapbook paper that will coordinate with those other 3 journals that I'm making. So this is like my starting point. And what I've done here is folded them in half, or not in half, but this is where the spine part of the page is going to be. And I marked, I don't know if you can see that on my mat, I marked the middle so that I could place that there and build upon this base piece to create my Franken page. Now, I know these are very white, stark white on the background. I'm gonna fix that later after I've made my page. On the other 3 pages, I just used a variety of stenciling, stamping, and just distressing to make this blend in better because I didn't really want that stark whiteness. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna start kind of on 1/2 here. I'm gonna set something over here to just kind of hold it in place on that middle line. Not that it has to be exact. It doesn't. But I like to keep it close. And then I have a box full of scraps over here. So basically what I'm going to do is just start picking out scraps. And what you're doing is you're just overlapping the edges a little. So like this one will go real nicely along the edge up to the point where I'm stopping. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue here, and I'm just gonna, I don't need that much because I'm going to go back when I get this all kind of tacked together and sew all these seams just like kind of like quilting, or you know, putting it together like Frankenstein's monster was. I don't know if any of you remember the old Frankenstein's monster images where his head is kind of sewed onto his neck with a kind of a zigzaggy stitch. That's kind of gruesome to think about it, but that's where this idea apparently came from in the first place. So there's our first piece, and I'm just going to just keep scrounging around in my scrap box and find different scraps to fit in onto this. I'm going to actually cut this down or tear this down to get rid of that white margin. If I can find my ruler, there it is. Because I just want the kind of the music piece. I don't want the whole, all the empty space on this one. Okay, so that's gonna go along in there, and what I'm gonna do is just put glue along this edge and this edge to hold this on there. And like I said, you don't need much because it's just kind of a temporary hold. I think I totally missed the glue on this edge. Let me try that again. I'm gonna speed this up a little and just keep working on this until I have all this whole page filled in with scraps. And another thing to keep in mind when doing these is it's much easier to work with squares and rectangles, straight edges basically, because you're going to be sewing later, and it'll be, I just think it would make it extra challenging to have curviness, and I don't think it would have the same look to it if you had like a lot of, like this is going to hang over the edge here, so I'm going to end up cutting that off, but this edge is straight here. I hope I'm making sense. So this one is glued together and trimmed down to size. Before I go to my sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and do these other two for my other two journals and get these all glued together and ready for the sewing machine as well. I've got all three of these gently glued together. I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning, but I guess part of the whole Franken page idea is that you see both sides of the paper on both sides of the signature page. So in that way, it's different than collaging, where you're starting out with a background piece and just gluing things down onto that background piece. So you only see the front side of the collage pieces, but this you see both sides. So that's this one. And there's a lot of plain white space on these. I realize that. But I'm going to, after these are sewn, I'm going to be doing more embellishing and decorating with stamps and distress oxides and acrylic paints probably, and splatters and stuff like that. So, all right, now what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to do this off camera as well, is I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to do zigzag stitches all around these pages wherever two pieces come together. And then, like I did on my other ones, I'm also going to, here's one of the first ones that I did, I'm also going to take it all the way around the outer edge. That just adds a little bit of reinforcement, I think, and a kind of a finishing touch to these Franken pages. So I'm going to take these to my sewing machine. It'll take me a little while because there's a lot of stitching to do, but then I'll be back to show you the final result. I have all these sewn now, and I trimmed off all my extra threads. I'll just show each one of them to you real quick. So even just the stitching alone adds so much more interest to these pages, I think. But I'm still going to go through and do some embellishing and decorating, especially in these really stark white places. I think I will make that a separate video though, so that I don't, so this one doesn't get too long. I think if I tried to do all of that in one video, I would, it would be too long. I like to try to keep my videos under 30 minutes or so. I don't know how everybody feels about that, but I prefer watching shorter videos than hour or hour and a half long videos, but that's just me. That's personal preference. Anyway, so that's my take on the Franken pages, and I'm going to end my video here today, and please stay tuned for my next Franken page video where I do some embellishing and decorating. Thanks again for watching today, and God bless.